toss the dwarf. On today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the Diamond Select, the Lord of the Rings 7-inch scale deluxe action figure Gimli. And here we have the figure standing straight up and down without any poses or accessories. My first impressions on this figure: when it comes to Diamond Select, the sculpting and paint applications can be amazing, but sadly that sometimes means they lack decent articulation. And especially when it comes to this figure, because Gimli is of course a dwarf, he's shorter and he's a bit bulkier. He doesn't have good articulation, let me tell you from the start, but it really works it up in terms of sculpting and paint applications. I really like the colors scheme that they choose. The hair and beard has some amazing sculpting done to it. And let's get into the accessories. And here you can see all the accessories that he comes with. To be honest, I never realized that he carries so many axes throughout the films, but there you go. As you can see, it comes not one, not two, but 3 axes and 2 interchangeable hands. Let's start with the axes first, shall we? Let's start with this axe. This is, of course, his quote walking axe. He uses this as a walking stick most of the time throughout the movies. As you can see, it's very nicely detailed. I like all the gold materials that are on the axes. Let's take a look at this one. I believe he used a similar one when he tried to destroy the One Ring at Elrond's place, but of course that one broke. But this is quite a similar one. And I think he uses this as a throwing axe at some point in the movies as well. I'm not sure. And here's this really big one. I'm not even sure if I can hold it. This is actually an axe. This is a double-sided axe that he got from Balin's tomb back in Moria. He didn't start the quest with this. He got it in Moria. I like all the engravings that there are on the axe, on the hilt. Really like that. It's the exact same on the other side. You can actually put these axes on Gimli. I'll show that in a second in the details part. Pardon. And let's take a look at the different hands. They are kind of gripping hands. I'm not sure because he comes with 2 axe holding hands. Those are his default hands. These are, you can use it to have him hold anything really. And they do have horizontal hinge. Goes about this much. I mean, of course it doesn't go this much on the figure, maybe like this much, I believe. It's actually kind of a soft material. You can bend it all the way you want. The other hand is totally the same. So now let's get into the details of the figure. Let's take a look at the details, starting from top to bottom. And first of all, let me just show you. There is a little hole here that you can use to put either one of his axes. Well, this double-sided one doesn't really go down because, well, it's a really snug fit, but as you can see, this doesn't really, you could force it, I think, but I'm not going to. Then I think this one is actually the best fit. When it's in there, it's not going anywhere. See, just like in the movies. Oh, that's a tight fit. Oh. And many believe that this could be pulled back, so you could use this as an additional axe holder. And that's not possible, I believe. This is just glued there, so if you want to force it, it's going to just break. So I don't recommend doing that. Same with this one. Even though I really believe that he used one of these rings to hold the axes. He did have an axe holster here, I'm pretty sure. So There you go, moving on. Starting with the head, the helmet on Gimli is really nicely sculpted and painted. Paint applications are really good, especially this kind of bronzish color. I don't know what happened here actually. It's kind of, see that there's black here. I'm not sure if that's, pardon, I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. There's some black paint here. Maybe that is supposed to be kind of wear and tear on the helmet. I'm not sure. The likeness, I believe, from all the Diamond Select Lord of the Rings figures, Gimli has the best face. But maybe because of the beard, you don't have to go fully 100 accurate to the actor, you know. The beard has some really nice wash to it. I really like these gold, I don't know what these are, like, yeah, I don't know what to call them really, but really holds together the beard, I think. It's really cool looking. You can't really see below the beard. Oh, that you can actually. Nice wash to this leather piece as well, to make it seem like they are darker leather. And this really does look like leather, even though it's of course plastic. It really does resemble leather material. Really like this kind of lower chainmail armor that they added. Again, really like the gold color on the pauldrons. One thing that I don't really like is that they really should have painted this part either the color of the chainmail or the vambraces, I believe these are called. That really bothers me. You can see all the equipment that he carries around, his bedroll, pouches, the belt buckle, really dwarvish looking. You can see here. He has really big feet, but he can actually stand quite well because of how wide his feet are, as he does, and he does have pec holes, so you can put him in a maybe like a NECA stand or something. So now let's get into the articulation of the figure. Get into the articulation. Mind that this is my personal copy of the figure, so I might be a bit more careful with it. Starting from top to bottom, starting with the head, of course. His head seems to be only on a ball joint. There's no hinge. You can barely see under there, but there doesn't seem to be a hinge. And because of the huge beard and the braided hair, he cannot, he could theoretically rotate his head better, but the beard hinders it quite a bit. He cannot look up whatsoever. I beg your pardon, I'm a bit sick. He cannot look down either. No, nothing. He can barely look up, barely. His arms can rotate around. They're on a hinge. They can go out this much. There's a swivel on the bicep. There's a cut actually. It's supposed to actually, but it's really tight. But yeah, it can move. The lower arm are on a single joint and they go barely above 90 degrees. The hands, these axe grabbing hands are also on a horizontal hinge. They can rotate around as well. The torso is on a ball joint, but there's like barely no articulation at all. You can slightly rotate it a bit, but there's no back or forward movement. The legs are on a ball joint, it seems like, and because of the skirt part, they still go out this much, forward this much, back this much, and there is, It seems to be a double joint. No, it's a single joint, sorry. Goes about this much. The feet are on a pivot. Rock, it goes forward a little bit, goes back a little bit as well, tiny bit, and it can rock side to side. So now, let's get into the size and comparisons. Moving on to size and comparisons, Gimli seems to be standing at, well, just a tiny bit over 15 centimeters, which puts him at somewhat 6 inches, just barely above 6 inches, which, this being a 7-inch scale figure, putting him next to a 6-inch scale figure, they are about the same height. But Gimli is a dwarf, of course, so even though his 6-inch scale is a bit smaller, let's compare him to a 7-inch scale figure. Let's put him next to his buddy Legolas, which I will be doing a review on later on. I'll do the entire Diamond Select Lord of the Rings line, including the Build-A-Figure Sauron. And let's compare him next to a can of Coca-Cola. And final thoughts on the figure. I think overall this figure is great. The likeness is good. The sculpting and paint applications are very, very nice. But sadly, being a Diamond Select figure and kind of a bulkier figure in general, the articulation is not the best. But you could say that Gimli doesn't need Spider-Man-like articulation, and you're probably right, but maybe like a double joint on the arms, maybe some better leg articulation, maybe some torso articulation, and it would have been fine. Also, if those rings that I mentioned on his armor could have been used to hold his axes, that would have been good. But I think overall he's one of the best figures from the Diamond Select Lord of the Rings line. You'll see that when I do a review on the other figures as well, including the Build-A-Figure Sauron. I actually haven't mentioned, but this whole wave comes with a piece of Sauron that you can build, but I didn't include that because I already have the Sauron already built, so I'll do a review on Sauron as well. So that's it. It was me, the collector. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like, or if you didn't like the video, consider leaving a dislike. That's an option for you as well. And if you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.